It's not tunneling. It's just bad information. Oh, God, I need a haircut. Hi, I'm Tiny, and I am very new to Dead by Daylight. When I started out with Dead by Daylight, I was just doing stuff, doing generators, running in straight lines, not knowing what I was doing at all. As I said in my previous video, I think that really enjoying a game means knowing what it's about, how it works, how to play it properly, what the best strategies are, etc. However, there's a lot of talk going on about camping and tunneling and the game being unbalanced, survivor-sided, killer-sided. Here's my point of view as a new player of this wonderful game. The real way that I got better at being a survivor, I am a survivor main, was by starting to play killer. Do you have to do this? In my opinion, yes, you should. If you are a survivor main, I highly recommend to play killer. And here is why. If you feel like you are being tunneled, like the killer is always on you, always knows where you are, that is probably because that is true. Only by playing killer do you realize the mistakes that you make. DBD is all about information. What information do I give, and what information does the killer get? Without playing killer, you do not know this. For example, did you know that fast vaulting gives a sound notification to the killer? Did you know that jumping into a locker gives a sound notification to the killer? Everything that happens in DBD in some sort of way gives information to somebody. You as a survivor have a heartbeat that goes louder or softer when the killer is nearby, but the killer doesn't have that. So the killer works on his information and you work on your information. Lucky, I got a game that ended with this chat. I recorded it, and now let's look at it to see why exactly it is not tunneling. If you are not willing to play killer, that is perfectly fine. Do whatever makes you happy. I will share it with you to show you why the things happen the way they happened. On the plus side, if you don't want to play killer, you will see exactly what information the killer receives in this video so that you can adapt your survivor game to that information. Let's jump right into it. In this game, I chose to play as Spirit. Spirit is not my main killer that I play, but I do really enjoy playing with her. We will be on the Cold Wind Farm. We are playing Lethal Pursuer, so the first thing we do is look for the survivors. We see them right there. One of them is close by, so we start phasing towards them immediately, find the blue scratch marks, and there we have our first immediate hit. They don't do a good job of Wing away, so we are going to go for the first hook, which we get within the first couple of seconds. We are going to go and hook them. There's a hook right there, but since we are playing Pain Resonance, we are going to find a white hook so that we get that early gen regression in. Maybe not the best option, by the way, because this hook was a little bit too fast. And gen progress might not have been too great. Here I started phasing, but immediately hear that this gen was being worked on. So we go and take this chase. As you can see, I hear something, I follow up on that information. They are running away right here. They do a very good job of doubling back over their own scratch marks in this case. And we continue the chase. We could have gotten a hit a little bit sooner if we paid better attention. But again, I'm still learning. I'm very new to this game. Here we are cornering them and we will get that first hit. They do an okay job of Wing away, so we are going to follow the scratch marks. We hear them here. We got lucky there that they didn't know on which side we would pop out. And got the down. Break the pallet, pick up. Look for another white hook. There it is, right there. At this point, this would actually have been better if this was the first hook on a Pain Resonance. But still, we'll take the second hook there as well. And we go, and what are we doing? We are looking for new information. We hear this generator has been worked on. Could that mean that somebody is there? Maybe not, maybe. But we choose to go away from the hook. We are not camping. 2 survivors spotted. We have blue check marks right there. One of them jumps through the window, which you can also hear in this case. They jump through, double back, and we try to find them in this instance. We think we lost them, but I just saw somebody peering through, so I'm going to phase to them. See if we can find some more scratch marks right there. We find them right there. we keep the chase going while we are going through the main building. They probably want to go for the window, but they don't, and they go around. That pallet is still up, so probably they will play it. We get a hit right there, and now we continue the chase. Another big thing that I want to mention right here for a second is it is always better to take a hit and not drop the pallet than it is to take a hit and then drop the pallet, because you are wasting time of the speed burst you get from the hit, and that pallet can be used later on as well. We continue the chase right here. She is playing the 50-50 on the pallet. We make a fake right there, and they buy it, throw a flashbang, and go down. We pick up, look for another white hook. Can we find it? Right next to us. Perfect. There's more information, as you could hear. We are going straight to that information that we have. Why do we do this? I can go to the other side of the map and maybe find a survivor, maybe find scratch marks, maybe get another notification, but I, as a killer, know that there are people there. So I go there and I find out what is going on. Here we move on, continue looking for scratch marks, looking for anything. We find the scratch marks. They went back to this generator. I make a big mistake here by not looking well enough to the scratch marks and go to the other side, lose a lot of distance on them, but we see them. They're on Shack. Shack is a super strong loop, but they make a mistake here by not pre-running fast enough. We do not get that hit, but we do get Shack pallet, which is one of the strongest pallets in the game. We break that, go phasing, go right after them, and they must be around here, but we forgot that they probably doubled back like they did last time. Here we see Lara unhooking right in front of me, which is never a very good idea. They were maybe AFK for a bit, take the hit on endurance, and they, again, do not make the best getaway from the endurance that they get. Here we try to fake them out a little bit, we make it, we get another down, and we keep going for them. You may ask yourself, why did I not go for Lara in this case? The reason is that Lara ran away immediately and this survivor stood still for a long time. As a killer, my main goal is winning. I'm sure that if you play a game, you play it to win. If you don't, then this video just simply isn't for you. I play to win, and this was the easiest and fastest down for me to get, in my opinion, and that is the calculation I made. We don't need to look for a white hook with them because we already hooked them. We hang them right here on the nearest hook that we can get, and that is our first K. Was that tunneling? Maybe. You tell me in the comments if that was tunneling, yes or no. For me, it's following up on information and making quick decisions as we go. Here we find our next two survivors that stayed on the generator while I was hooking somebody very close by. We go for this girl right here because, again, the easier target in this case. They disconnect immediately as soon as they get down, which is perfectly fine. You do whatever you feel you have to do. Hook them on a white hook because we haven't hooked them before. And we move on and try and find the Kate, break this door in the meantime. See if we can see, hear, or sense other information. We go a little bit around, go to that generator right there, and we can hear immediately that it has been worked on and scratch marks. There we go. New information available. We follow the scratch marks. They are unhooking straight in front of us, and we go for the Kate. The reason we go for the Kate in this case is she is full health. The other girl that got unhooked was under endurance, so we can hit her, she will W away, and we will lose both of them. So in this instance, to be really honest with you, I did not pay attention to which Kate this was, and here's the second K. Now we go again, look for information, we hear somebody moaning. In this case, it's Claire. We're going for Claire. She's not making a great getaway here. She doesn't get anything, and we get the second hook on Kate as well. Go look for a hook. We already hooked her on a white one, so we can hook her as close by as we can, and that is what we do. Next up, we're going to look for information. A generator being worked on, a generator that is much more progress than the one we worked on before. Maybe they're right here. Keep on looking. Try to see if maybe they were hiding. Also very important to note is that Lara is injured, so she will be making noise. So we are listening for both generators being worked on and noises from Lara. Go back around the hook, find if they are maybe going for the unhook in this instance, which we don't see scratch marks, we don't find them, we don't see them, and we go and continue where we left off in this case. For a little bit more speed, we phase to the last position we checked and check around to see if we can find anything else. Here we hear her, and she's hiding in the locker. We pick her up, we go for the hook. In this case, it obviously doesn't matter at all which hook we get, because this is the final hook of the game. And that is all she wrote. A 4K, very easily done. Not because we were tunneling, but because we were following up on information. And this really is how the game works. You get information, you look for information, and you follow up on that information. If you don't do this as a killer, then you will be losing time. And this is really a game of who uses the time they have better. Now, what we could see here is we have scratch marks, we have sound notifications, we have, in this case you couldn't see it, but generators being done. That is, again, information because you get a loud notification there. What other notifications are there? Fast vaulting through windows. Jumping into a locker. Sounds of walking and even breathing hard when you have been running for a while. Even just normal breathing can be heard at times. When you start opening a gate, there is a sound that comes from the gate. What else is there? There's crows. I don't even know how to use crows yet, but apparently you can also look at the crows to find information. There is movement of grass. There are all kinds of information that a killer just simply needs to follow up on. So as a survivor, what is best to do? Understand how much information you are or are not giving to the killer, and limit that information. Pay attention to your heartbeat. If it gets loud, don't start running away immediately. Maybe walk around, get a visual on the killer, and make sure that you can hide so that you can get back on the generator, for example, that you were working on, etc., etc. Limit the information you are giving by playing more stealthily when you are not in chase. I hope that I really was able to show you what I meant with this is an information game. Use it as you like. If I made a mistake, please let me know in the comments. If you want to see something else, please let me know in the comments. Very happy to work on something that might help you get better in DBD. See you next time. Thanks for watching.